You're listening to the Quince podcast.
Assaulted by the police for allegedly farming on government land, then illegally getting charged with attempt to suicide after consuming pesticide in anguish, and a debt of rupees 3 lakhs. This incident around a Dalit couple from Madhya Pradesh is like the story of many others. In some disturbing visuals, Ramkumar Ahirwar and Savitri Devi, a Dalit couple from Guna district in Madhya Pradesh, were seen getting gherraud by the district police. They're seen getting kicked, getting lathi charged from all sides, getting dragged on the ground, and all this in a bid to evict them from a piece of government-owned land. After the assault, the couple is said to have consumed pesticide in front of their children and the police in protest. And in a heartbreaking photo from the incident, one of their children is seen sitting on the mother's chest and the rest surrounding the father. But what happened in Guna with this Dalit couple has been the case with many other evictions from cities and towns where Dalits or landless labourers and farmers were caught between the insensitivity displayed by the government authorities and their own underprivilege. What kind of a commentary does it present on the lack of social security for the landless underprivileged classes and castes? And why do we need to talk about land and property inclusivity along with rights empowerment? You're listening to The Big Story, the podcast where we dissect the headline-making news for you. And I'm your host, Shorbri. In the year 2018, 20 bighas or around 5.5 acres of the said piece of public land in Guna was set aside for building a model college by the government. According to reports, the previous attempts to vacate the land had gone in vain. And on 14th July, the district police in Guna made another attempt. A team from the State Revenue Department along with cops came to measure the land and build a boundary wall around it. They also brought in the JCB machines to bulldoze through the patch that Ramkumar Ahirwar and his wife Savitri Devi had been farming in. But the Dalit couple put up a protest claiming that they had been cultivating on that land for years. And what happened after is all too familiar. Be it the case of forced evictions in unauthorized slums in cities, or evictions of migrant labourers from under flyovers, or as in this case, simply landless farmers. A video shot by onlookers documenting the police's assault on the couple has been shared on social media by many, and the assault wasn't limited to the couple alone. They also thrashed the children. After Rajkumar and his wife consumed pesticide in resistance, they were immediately shifted to the nearest government hospital, and currently the latter is said to be critical. But in the meantime, the couple have 2 FIRs against them that includes charges under Section 353 of the IPC, which is assault or criminal force to deter a public servant from the discharge of his duty, and also Section 309 of the IPC, which is attempt to suicide. And the second charge, despite what Section 115 of the Mental Health Care Act of 2017 states, quote, any person who attempts to commit suicide shall be presumed, unless proven otherwise, to have severe stress and shall not be tried and punished under it. End quote. The police say that although it is this couple who were occupying this land, it is another land squatter by the name of Dabbu Pardhi who had sublet this land to the family. And according to a report on NDTV, the couple had to pay him rupees 3 lakhs to inhabit this land without any social security, where they could be evicted any time. Since this incident came to light, it took no time for politicians to jump in and blame the other. Former MP Chief Minister Kamal Nath called it the Jungle Raj on Wednesday evening, and by Wednesday night, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan announced that the Guna collector and the superintendent of police have been removed from their posts and that an inquiry has also been ordered into the incident. The collector, before he was expelled, had told the Indian Express that Ahirwar's relatives were allegedly blocking them from taking the couple to the hospital, and so they had to use force. He also said that the government had sanctioned rupees 12 crore for the construction of the college and that any further delay could have resulted in it being shifted to another district. But an inquiry doesn't solve the problem of a systematic disempowerment of a socially excluded landless family. It doesn't eliminate more incidents of families getting pushed and shoved by authorities over illegal occupation. In fact, they're twice victimized in these incidents. One for the inequalities that forced them to occupy public property, and the second time from the insensitivity of authorities. Can we ensure social security for the landless underprivileged without talking about land rights? Why is it so important to talk about land and property inclusivity in terms of empowerment of Dalits, Adivasis, women, and other people from underprivileged sections? Ashif Sheikh, the founder of Jan Sahas, a community-based organization from Madhya Pradesh who works on land and property rights for the rural masses, explains.
तो अगर हम देखें हमारे देश में हमारे देश की जो आबादी है उसमें तकरीबन 70% like according to 2011 census 70% जो population है वो rural area में रहती है और उसमें से तकरीबन अगर हम देखें तो 10 करोड़ के आसपास household हैं जिनके पास कोई भी जमीन नहीं है उनके पास थोड़ी बहुत भी जमीन नहीं है.
If we look at a country, according to the 2011 census, 70% of our population lives in rural areas. And among them, at least 10 crore households are absolutely landless, and they account for 49 crores of our population. That means almost 1/3 of our population don't own any land or property, and they have to figure out their livelihoods without that. So it's extremely difficult for landless people in rural areas to find a decent livelihood. Land is not just a means of earning. It is also about dignity and social respect. Land and property rights can bring about some amount of equality among masses.
A means of the the livelihood, but it's also connected to the dignity, to the the social respect of the rural families. और अगर हमें गांव में लैंड और प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स पे हम काम करते हैं और अगर लैंड और प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स इंश्योर होता है तो आई थिंक ये जो इनइक्वालिटी है और जो forceful distress या migration है उसको हम रोक सकते हैं.
Mr. Ashif Sheikh has also talked about the inclusive empowerment of citizens through secure land in a collaborative series between the Quint and the Nudge Foundation. The series is called Charcha 2020. You can find it on the Quint's YouTube channel. And also do check out the episode on Dalit empowerment and land rights on our show notes. But to come back to this incident from Madhya Pradesh, what about the land reform programs for the marginalized in states like MP? Why haven't they helped people? To highlight some points that Mr. Sheikh raised in the series, between 1998 and 2003, the then Digvijay Singh-led MP government had initiated a program to distribute government-owned charnoi or common grazing land to landless tribals and Adivasis. But despite all these programs, the ground reality hasn't changed much. It's the same inheritance of landlessness that has been going on for generations that ultimately led to this incident from Guna.
और रेवेन्यू लैंड की जब हम बात करते हैं तो खासकर आपने देखा होगा पिछले 2 दशकों में
When we talk about land, in the last 2 decades, we have seen many governments engage in land distribution. If you look at the case of Madhya Pradesh, the state government had initiated land rights distribution between 2000 to 2003. And they basically distributed about 6 lakh acres of land to 3.4 lakh of Dalit and Adivasi families. But if you look at the ground reality, distribution has been completed on paper, but in truth, a lot of people haven't been allotted lands, and that's because of an ineffective mechanism from the government.
Because of the effective mechanism from the government side, कि वहाँ पे कोई ऐसे system काम नहीं कर रहा था जिससे वो लोगों को जमीन मिल सके.
So how can the government empower the marginalized groups where families like Ahirwas come from?
और मुझे लगता है कि ऐसे बहुत सारे स्टेट्स ने किया है जो बहुत पॉजिटिव एग्जांपल्स हैं. जैसे कई सारे स्टेट्स ने पर्टिकुलर सोशल ग्रुप्स को आइडेंटिफाई किया है. फॉर एग्जांपल जो रिलीज बॉन्डेड लेबर है, जो महिलाएं मैनुअल स्क्वेंजिंग के काम में लगी थी, जो मैनुअल स्क्वेंजिंग के काम से बाहर निकल गए.
States have identified some socially excluded groups, like for example released bonded laborers, or rehabilitated women manual scavengers, or communities who were facing caste-based commercial sexual exploitation or trafficking victims. Distributing lands among such communities is a very powerful strategy. It ensures dignity of life and, at the same time, it contributes to their livelihoods. Such kind of empowerment should have been amplified, but I think we have failed to do so.
तो मेरे ख्याल से ये कुछ चीजें पिछले सालों में हुई हैं जिनको हमको और ज्यादा इफेक्टिवली लागू करने की जरूरत थी, जिसमें हम एक लेवल पे फेल हुए हैं.
If you like listening to this episode, please subscribe to the Big Story playlist for episodic updates. We're live on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, JioSaavn, and most of the other popular podcast streaming platforms. For other podcasts, please log on to the Quint website and check out the podcast section. For any feedback, shoot an email to podcasts@thequint.com.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.